Welcome back to Rides and Drives Team Radio, the ultimate IndyCar fan podcast. I am Kaz. I'm here with Harvey, and we just watched a really, really interesting qualifier for the Nashville Grand Prix.
Boy, were there a lot of surprises in this. I mean, the top five is kind of shocking, I think.
It really is. How many? We have seen Alex, including this race, start below top three 7 times this season. That means he started in the top three 10 out of 17 races. For him to not hit that point in the last race of the season is pretty surprising.
Yeah, and in a season where the Honda engine has been pretty dominant, to see 7 of the top 10 qualifiers as Chevys, that is really something to hold on to and look for in the race tomorrow.
That's the talk of the day for me. I'm so curious to see if that Chevrolet pace advantage, because their straight line speed was just so much faster. All of the Hondas struggled to put that kind of straight line speed onto the track. If that maintains throughout the entire race, we could really see 2 clumps of cars kind of start to pull away from each other in a really interesting way.
Yeah, it was surprising in that post-qualifying press conference to hear Pato talk about the fact that Chevy brought the speed this weekend. I was surprised by that it sounds like there's something there, and then that this isn't a fluke that many cars with Chevy power are at the front of the grid.
And I also think it's really important to note when we're looking at the 2 Hondas that made it into the top 5, we've got Scott Dixon, who is one of 2 drivers currently on the grid who has won at this track, and he holds the qualifying speed record at this track. This guy likes this place and knows how to put laps in here. And then we have Alex, who's just been better than everybody else all season.
Right.
So of the top 5, 2 being Hondas, those are the only 2 that I think were even close to touching it. The only 2 that had a chance to. And I think that there's a little bit more going on than just the engine that was able to put them there.
Right. I think those 2 guys, yeah, clearly they know how to drive that track. They know how to get the most out of their cars.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was kind of surprising, and it should make for a very interesting race tomorrow to see how the strategies play out, especially since they have to run the soft tires twice. So we're going to see a lot of interesting pit strategies from that standpoint. I don't know. I didn't check to see in the first practice what the difference in speed was between the soft tire and the hard tire. But if it's like Milwaukee, where you had that really high tire degradation, if you have the same kind of tire deg, and this is a concrete track, it's not a it's not traditional pavement. So I wonder if that's going to cause any issues with tire deg here, and we're going to see that big drop off again that we saw like in Milwaukee.
Yeah, and see drivers kind of trying to leverage the harder tires as long as they can to run longer stints. I think that drivers on the Honda engine have to be looking at the undercut. They have to make up speed somewhere. And I think you're right. Pit strategies are going to come into play big time here when you're talking about making up for that lack of speed that the Hondas seem to have on this track on this day. You know what's so interesting about this too? There have been a couple of races this season where people have told us, you remember David Hovis from Penske telling us at Road America, this is a Chevrolet track.
Right.
So we feel good about it. And then very few Chevrolets qualified in the top 10. We saw Honda making strides in places that are typically known as Chevrolet tracks all season. It's really, really interesting to see that advantage bounce back right here at the very end.
Yeah, I wonder if they just have found something in the way they tune that engine finally, if it's just taken them all season. Again, the hybrid has only been in place since midway through last season. So you've only got about, 23, maybe 24 races on that engine. So Honda figured it out. Maybe Chevy's finally caught up. Who knows? Unfortunately, this is the last race of the season, so we won't know if this is a trend or just a one data point, right?
I know. Can't we just go another 17 races, guys? I'm really curious about this.
Yeah, it's frustrating that the season ends this weekend, but IndyCar just doesn't want to go up against the NFL. They know what that'd do to their ratings. So, you
I
know,
don't blame them. It
we
would certainly cause a little bit of division in my own house, what's on the television on Sundays. So I'm fine with the timing. I'm just bummed that that time is here.
right, right. Yeah, it was interesting too because there may have been some car setup issues because I was hearing I can't remember who it was during qualifying when they interviewed him after he got or just before he got in the car. They were talking about setting the rear wing at position 2 or position 3 to check the downforce, and they decided to go with higher downforce. So if and I believe that was a Honda driver. So if the Honda drivers decided more downforce was better, then that could explain the difference, and we might see a different setup tomorrow for the race.
Sure.
So we don't know whether that's an engine thing, a setup thing, but the fact that 7 of 10 of the fastest cars have the Chevy engine in them is a little bit hard to ignore.
Yeah. Yeah. At that point, every Chevy driver seemed to have an advantage over every Honda driver during this qualifying session.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, even the Prema cars riding a little bit faster than they traditionally have been. So,
Ilott had a cracker qualifier. What a
yeah,
great position for him to be in.
to be at ninth place, unfortunately, he's going to drop positions because of his grid penalty. But that happens. And then Rasmussen, last week's winner, he's going to start from the back because of his 9th place grid penalty for changing an engine. So that should be exciting. Connor Daly, he's starting a little bit back. That should be exciting because of the kind of performances he puts in. So you're going to want to watch him at the start. And then up
He's a
front,
real firecracker on ovals. I can't wait to see what he does from the back.
yeah, and then up front, you've got some, team dynamics that'll come into play. Even though there's no such thing as team orders in Indy, teams do help each other, and
Sure.
so to have a couple of McLaren cars up front like that, it should be pretty interesting to see how they play it.
Yeah, to see how Lundgaard handles Malukas, to see how Malukas, I mean, I think for him, the goal has to just be get past Pato as fast as possible so that this can't come into play.
Look, this is a long race. It's almost 300 miles, 225 laps. So, you can't win the race on the first lap, but you can lose it. So you need to be careful, especially with that bump in turn 3. You don't want to be in the wrong place and, early in the race ruin your chances. So I expect those guys at the front to be pretty, they'll be aggressive, but they'll be smart about it early. And we'll see how that plays out after maybe 2 or 3 pit stops. You'll really start to see them race each other harder.
Yeah, we did talk just yesterday about how important patience is going to be given how few racing lines there are and how fast the speeds are on this track. So that is a great point.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Should be a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to be watching the start and trying to, that's one of the problems about watching it on TV, though, is we can only watch what they show us. And when you're
So
at the
true.
track, you can sit there and say, oh, I want to watch Connor Daly in these first 2 laps. Probably not going to see that on TV, even though
Yeah, we might see a
it's
couple of replays later
right.
on, but I doubt we're going to be able to get it live, which is a shame.
Yeah. And for everyone who's listening on the podcast, that's why you want to go to the track. So you can see what you want to watch. And that's okay. We'll get to this race next year.
Yeah, definitely we will. Not going to miss any of them if I have anything to say about it. All right, you know who else I wanted to talk about from qualifiers is I know I talk about him every week because I just want so much more for him. Newgarden had an interesting story today.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Uh
did. He qualified surprisingly well considering
he
everything that
reported not
went
being
on.
able to get the car into sixth gear.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
curious to see what that lap would have looked like if he had been able to put the car where he wanted it to.
Yeah, to have him starting eighth and up front, he said that he felt like the soft limiter was coming on. So somewhere in the software, he was getting a power cut. That's, but to still be that high, uh, and he's a great oval driver. So
And he
yeah,
set that time early too. And
right,
held on to a top three position for quite some time. He didn't get knocked out of the top three until Dixon ran.
right.
So quite impressive. When he first put that lap through, I thought, oh, that's not really going to hold. I'm expecting him to drop out of the top 10. Really pleasantly surprised to see him there. Did you see what he said when he got out of the car?
No, I missed that.
He said, that's this season, right? He
Hmm.
said that soft limiter giving me some trouble, couldn't get into six. That's this season, huh? That's a man who's been beaten down, and I just it's funny because I never used to be a massive Joseph Newgarden fan, but watching him go through this season, and then I think it was really cemented when after the Indy 500 he just started running laps around the track. I'm
Right.
I'm gonna run in the fast 12, god damn it, whether I'm on my feet or in a vehicle, and I just really appreciated that attitude. So I can't wait to see him, hopefully, finally catch some good luck today.
Well, Penske's due for good luck because even last week, they had a couple cars finish well, but they had some bad luck early in the race. So,
Yeah, yeah, with Will.
yeah,
And speaking of not a really stunning qualifying,
no, as we talked about yesterday, this is a big weekend for him, and to have him in 12th place right now, that is kind of surprising, especially as well as the Chevys have done and as experienced as he is on ovals. It does surprise me that he isn't higher up the grid for sure.
the great thing about ovals though is that you can see a lot of movement. So just because he's starting further back doesn't mean I don't expect him to get his nose into it during the race. I can't imagine Will Power ending his career at Penske with a whimper.
No. So the other thing I thought was interesting in the post-race press conference was when Pato talked about the season, right?
Mm,
He said that someone asked him, does he want to go out with a win? Wouldn't that be a great way? And he's like, this has been a successful season for us.
hmm
Um, Given that Alex has dominated the season the way he has, 2 wins is pretty significant. And frankly, in most seasons, 2 wins is a really nice total for a championship.
Yeah.
He's second in the championship, but only because Alex has just dominated and won so many races. Typically, you've got, you know, 8 different race winners in a season. You just
My
don't have that this year.
my favorite IndyCar fact, maybe. I say this every day about a different fact, but right now it's the fact that Will Power won his last championship, only stepping on that top step one time.
Right.
So this season for Alex is unique and historic. And frankly, every single driver who I've heard talk about Alex this season has pretty much just said that. They've said this is not something you see. Frankly, it's kind of an honor for us to be racing at the same time and to be able to see it live, and we're just enjoying the show same as you are. Next season we're going to put it to him hard,
Right. Yeah, that'll
and that's the attitude you have to have against a guy like Alex having the season he's having. I also think Pato gave Rasmussen some big thumbs up in
oh,
this press conference, which I thought was really nice. He said he talked to him after the race and he told him, that last 30 lap stint was, he said, badass.
yeah.
And Pato, you're right. That's exactly the word I would use for Christian Rasmussen last week. That was a very, very badass last 30 laps.
Yeah, I went back and watched the replay of the race and watched those last 30 laps, and the way he drove was unbelievable. He was a madman. And he's going to have
Mm-hmm.
to do that again today or tomorrow to get from the back of the grid up to the front. So I'd pay attention to him too. We're going to see some badass driving.
He's coming into it with confidence. I fully believe he's going to give it everything he has, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Well, I could talk about these qualifiers all day, but I think in the interest of everybody's time, let's move on and play our little game. Harvey, are you ready to play predictions?
I am. I have all my picks written down right here. So
Don't forget any.
I haven't forgotten any and I am ready to go. Do you
Well,
want me to
good. You're
start?
gonna go. Yeah, you're gonna go first. Who do you have finishing third?
I have Alex Palou finishing third.
That's a good, solid choice.
I think they're going to run solid all day tomorrow, and they're going to be smart about their pit strategy this time.
Hmm
The Chevys look faster, so I'm picking him to finish third.
That's the thing for Alex. And I like this pick for you because, like we said earlier, if this speed advantage is held throughout the race tomorrow, any Honda driver is going to have to be really, really strategic with their undercuts and their pit stop strategies. Alex is the Honda driver who's most likely to pull off a perfectly strategized race.
Yes.
Well, my P3 is the same as it's been. It's Joseph Newgarden. I want him on the podium before the end of the year. And if I have to throw away every point I have in order to get him there, I'm doing it. I want him there. He, like I said, I think if he hadn't have been struggling with his car, he would have qualified significantly higher. This is something that can be fixed easily. He is a phenomenal oval racer. And what he said when he got out of the car, like, yep, that's this year. He is frustrated and he is ready to race tomorrow. He's on the podium.
That's a good pick. I feel like he's due for some good luck.
He's got
So,
to be.
let's I mean, the Penske cars are as fast as anybody. The we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
we'll see.
So, number 2 for me,
Who's on step two?
Pato O'Ward.
You know what? Before we talk about why, I'm going to let you know that I also have Pato on step two.
I have him on step 2 for no other reason that I have a long shot on step 1 that I want to go with. But
Oh, that's fun.
I could easily see Pato finishing on the top step.
Sure.
He's as good as anybody in the field. That car looks strong. McLaren's looked really good the last few races. I I could see him winning this race, but I have him number 2 just because I want to make a crazy first position pick.
You know why I don't have him winning the race? It's because, and I'd have to go back through many, many years to check if it's never happened, but Pato very infrequently wins from pole.
Yeah, I don't have that stat
He
on
hasn't
the top
this
of my
year.
head.
Neither of his two wins this year came from a pole position. Um, I I know I have heard this recently. I don't know the exact statistic, but I know for certain that he very frequently wins from pole. He's been driving great this season and he's made some improvements. So, maybe he will start winning from pole starting on this race, but I just, let's have some fun and say it's going to get mixed up a little bit.
Well, and he won it last year. Oh no, Herta won last year. I'm sorry.
Heard it one last year.
Sorry. I'll
Just
cut
cut
that
that
out.
out.
Yep.
And
Okay.
who do you have winning the race, Harvey?
I told you I had a crazy pick, and
Yeah,
you're
I can't
gonna
wait.
like this crazy pick.
Is it Joseph
Joseph
Newgarden?
Newgarden.
Yes.
I am just thinking, let's he's gonna be racing hard.
I
He
thought about it. I really did.
he
But I was like,
is
don't get greedy.
no, he has a good car. He's going to be racing hard. And I just feel like the racing gods sooner or later have to favor Penske for one race. And this is the only race left to do it. He's the highest qualifying car on that
Mhm.
team. Let's see if he can pull it off.
I would be losing my freaking mind. I hope that you are right. I'd be so happy to give you 2 points for that. I also have a feel good pick on my top step. I think David Malukas is picking up his win. I think he is solidifying that he wants that Penske seat and that he deserves it, whether or not they wind up giving it to him. And this isn't saying anything about Will. Just because Malukas deserves it doesn't mean that Will doesn't. But Malukas has had a wonderful season and an especially strong finish. And I think that he is ready to put a car on the top step of that podium.
No, I think that's a really strong pick. I think he learned a lot last week at Milwaukee about how to drive an oval. I thought,
Mm-hmm.
um, and his qualifying performances have been phenomenal. So he's getting the speed out of the car. He proved he can race. Let's see where he goes.
Yeah, I'm really excited to keep an eye on Malukas tomorrow. He had such an impressive recovery drive. Who knows what the end of that race would have looked like if he hadn't have had that fluke pit stop issue, the gun's not working. That's a shame. It happens. That's racing.
Yep.
Let's see a race when that doesn't happen and see where he finishes.
Well, and that was the thing. If that gun thing hadn't happened, he would have been racing for the win
Yeah,
at the end. So he
I
didn't
I think
make
so
any
too.
mistakes last week. And that was what I wanted to see. That's why I picked him as the biggest loser last week, because I thought that he would make a mistake. He didn't. Good for him.
Let's see if he can do it again.
Yeah. So biggest
So who's
mover?
who's moving up for you?
This is a tough one
I
because
thought I had a very easy time with my
did
pick.
you? Well,
Yeah.
it's not that hard. I mean, for me, the obvious pick would be Rasmussen
Oh,
because he's starting
yeah.
27th, right?
Okay. Sure.
So I would think, oh, he's got a, he's easily going to pass 10 cars, right?
Yeah.
So
Unless he runs into one.
yeah, that would be that would be the obvious choice. But in the spirit of not being so obvious this week, I'm picking Rossi.
Okay. He had a
I'm,
great week last week, and he
yep.
is also starting fairly low.
Yeah, I think he's starting 20th. So he definitely has some positions to move up. So
Qualified 20th. He'll be
uh,
19th after Rasmussen's grid drop.
qualify. Okay, so he could, if he finishes in the, top seven, whatever, five, six, seven, that'd be a good move up day for him.
So who is your pick? Are you going Rasmussen or Rossi?
I'm going Rossi.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a great pick. I like Rossi a lot, and he really over the last couple of weeks has seemed like he's kind of sparked a little something. He's driving in a very confident manner, and you're right, he's starting way back from where we expect him to be. Ed Carpenter teams in general have been looking
They've
really
been
really great
looking,
for the last few races.
yeah, very strong.
I have Connor Daly.
Oh, another
He's
good one.
starting. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's starting. He qualified 25th. He'll be starting 24 after Rasmussen's grid drop. The way,
Yeah.
oh my God, they're starting next to each other. I just realized that. That's fun.
Yeah.
It is worth noting that uh Rasmussen was featured on Daly's podcast last week. So I think they've squashed whatever beef is there, but that doesn't mean it won't pop back up whenever they're on the track. That could be a lot of fun. Connor has a history of racing really well on ovals. He had such a beautiful start last week. And I just think that as soon as we hit green, he's going to zip past 5, 6 cars in that first lap. I think he's
Well,
going to put on a show for us.
yeah, they talked about that in the broadcast today too. When he was qualifying, they said
Mhm.
we want to watch him on the start again. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they said the lower he qualifies, the better show for all of us. And I can't help but agree with that. I just wish that they would show it on the broadcast. And I unfortunately don't think they're going to. But
yep,
yeah,
yeah.
I
So
expect big movement from Connor Daly.
good pick.
Who do you have dropping? Who's not maintaining that position?
My biggest bust, I have Nolan Siegel.
Oh my God, me too. God,
Uh,
too related. This is the problem.
yeah,
Maybe next season we'll address if double picks are allowed because it
right.
is more fun if we have different choices.
I think so. I think we should do that next year. That whoever and so we'll alternate week
Who
to
picks
week
first?
who
Yep.
picks first, so
Yep.
we can do that. But okay, so for tomorrow we both have Siegel, so that'll nullify itself in the point totals. But
Nolan's had a great season and he's had a couple of really lovely flashes of brilliance. But he's
I
over.
don't, yeah, I don't see his strength on ovals.
Yeah.
And he has had some tough finishes. So, uh, surprise me, but
As I said last week, I love being wrong here.
right,
I have no problem when a driver proves me wrong on
right.
biggest
We're not
bust.
picking biggest bust because we don't like these people or we don't want
No,
them to do well. We're picking biggest bust because someone has to,
because we
and
must.
it's that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and then there's the behavior. Who's going to be a bad boy?
This one comes because he's starting so far back and needs to pass so many people.
Mm-hmm.
It's Rasmussen.
I thought about that very seriously.
I
That's a fun and easy call to make.
I think he's going to, maybe get a little aggressive a little too early and cause a little mayhem. But
Mm-hmm.
again, I may be wrong. But
Yep.
I could definitely see that happening.
Yep.
And
For
who's yours?
Well, I'm playing with a little storyline here. You know how I like to do that. We've got a really interesting and tight Rookie of the Year points finish going on right now. We have Louis Foster sitting at 203 and Robert Schwartzman at 195. That's 8 points separating them. Louis is qualified behind Robert, and Robert's going to have to move up still because they're at the back of the grid in order to make up those 8 points. But Louis is not going to want to let him. And Louis qualified at 22. Is that correct? No, Louis qualified at 24. His average qualifying position this season has been 12. So he's not used to being where he is. And he's going to feel a lot of pressure to catch up to Robert Schwartzen and make sure he maintains that lead in that Rookie of the Year race. So I think that in his attempt to do that, because he is a rookie, he's likely to make the kind of mistake that we look back on and we say, "Ooh, Louis, man, ew, what were you thinking?" Ugh.
It could be. I mean, there's definitely a lot of pressure on both those guys because, again, as they said on the broadcast, you only have one opportunity to win Rookie of the Year, and
Mm-hmm.
it would be meaningful to both of those guys. So,
Oh, how much would that mean to take away?
yeah. So, good pick.
I, d-
I actually was toying with the idea of Schwartzman as my,
I, I played with both of them, and
yeah.
I did. Rasmussen is a guy who's known for driving aggressively, who is starting far back and has confidence from last week. So I think that's a great pick too. But I'm so intrigued by this Rookie of the Year race right now that I felt like it just had to play in.
Okay. Good.
Now, my favorite category.
The
Say something
wild pick.
Say something fun. I'll assign you a number of points.
Here is my wild pick, and it's a surprisingly high finisher.
Okay.
Santino Ferrucci, top five.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I would love to see that. We discussed yesterday how I'm really curious to watch Santino this race because I think that I know that he underperformed last week and I think it must have been frustrating for him to watch somebody else who drives aggressively and who's known for that style to utilize it so beautifully. So I like that pick a lot. I think Ferrucci's again, he's had high highs and low lows this season. It means a lot to him to go out on a high in terms of momentum for next year.
No, I think so. And AJ Foyt has been strong this year. I mean, they have really gotten the most out of that strategic alliance with Penske. And so let's give him one more good race. And that, I mean, top five is a real stretch, but
It's possible.
it's possible.
He's a driver who's capable of some really
I mean,
dynamic and exciting movement
we saw him finish on the podium at Road America. So
and drink a beer from the crowd.
there you go. Did you
Um,
see, by the way, did you see the video online of him meeting the fan who threw him the beer
the
at
fan was a
Milwaukee?
bar owner at Road America. The fan was a bar owner
No, no, he
and
met the guy
prison. Yeah,
in
met him at yes. Okay,
and gave him a
gotcha.
case of Miller Lite. So
Gave him a case of gold Miller Lite. I wouldn't
good.
even drink that. That's going on the shelf in the office. That's a trophy as
Yeah,
much as
have him
any
sign it,
podium trophy.
put it up behind the bar, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I would do with it.
All right,
All right.
what's
Let me give
your
you some
crazy
points for
pick?
that. Let me give you some points for that before you move on.
Okay.
Um, hmm. I like this, and I told you last week that you had better do something a little crazier. Santino would have to move up 9 positions to finish in the top five. I'm looking at a lot of drivers he's capable of passing. I'll give you five.
Ooh, I'll take five.
I think it's a good and possible thing, but I just don't feel in my gut that it's likely. So I'll give you a high amount of points for it. And I also want to reward you for making a more exciting choice this week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Trying to live within the spirit of the game now and
It's all
be
fun.
less rational because I'm typically too damn rational. So
Well, I also maybe overcorrected a little bit from last week when I predicted something that was completely lost within the first 15 laps. This is I would go as far as to say this is kind of likely. It's an all Chevrolet podium.
That is kind of likely, seeing as we only have two Hondas in the top 10. So,
Three, two in the top five.
oh, sorry, you're right. I will give you 3 points for that.
I think that's fair. I don't expect that to be a whole lot of points, but I do need to be strategic and try and catch up with you, especially given that we have two of the same picks. So those are going to come out as washes, even if I do score points for them.
Yeah. So I think we're going to have a fun race tomorrow. There's a lot on the table
Hmm.
in terms of driver championship position. There are a few people who are really close. There's that rookie of the year battle. There are a lot of people who are driving Chevrolets now who maybe think, wait a minute, we're not giving this race to Alex. I have a chance to win it. So I think we're going to see a lot of Chevrolet drivers go hard tomorrow. Um, Going to be a
And we've
fun one.
got to keep an eye on Lundgaard and Dixon as well. There are currently only 7 points separating third and fourth in the championship. For that means a lot for both of them. For Lundgaard on the up, wow, to be able to finish the season in third. I don't think anybody expected him to finish the season in fourth when he started. So that would be such a huge boon to be able to take that position at the last minute. And then for Dixon,
Right.
the
To
the
have
pro,
the
he
pro.
always wants the strong position.
Right.
Yeah.
And what does that mean for Ganassi to have drivers
Mm,
finish first and third? Again,
absolutely.
it's all, it's certainly great for sponsors, all that other stuff. So I think it's going to be a really fun race tomorrow with everything that's in to play for. And it's the last race of the season. So, you're not leaving anything on the track. So
Yeah, I think so too.
let's
Let's
see
mix
what
it
they
up.
have to do. Yeah, exactly. So, with that, we're going to close this podcast out, this episode. So, thanks for joining us at Rides and Drives Team Radio. We are going to be back after the race tomorrow, and we will see whether we got things right or wrong. So, for Kaz, I'm Harvey. Thanks for joining us again, and we'll see you tomorrow after the race.
Enjoy it, guys. We only get one last race a year.